The Nintendo Switch 2 is a big fat W for players across the globe, and even though this is the situation, Nintendo is still getting backlash and hate, albeit from a very small, but at the same time very loud percentage of the gaming audience, just for releasing a rather safe, but at the same time great sequel to the OG Switch. But let's all be real here. The haters are fucking lucky Nintendo didn't connect a treadmill to a VR headset and say, "Here you monkeys, this is the new console," and create some weird and wacky device for the fans. Some people just don't understand that the Nintendo Switch 2 is building upon the massive success of its predecessor. The Switch 2 keeps what worked, improves on its shortcomings, and aims to add thoughtful upgrades to provide a better experience overall. Despite these strong points, Nintendo is still facing some backlash from a very vocal, albeit small, portion of the gaming audience. The criticism seems to stem from the fact that the Switch 2 doesn't completely reinvent the wheel. The reality is that weird gimmicks don't often hold up in the long run. They're fun for a weekend or two, but after the novelty wears off, you're left with hardware that's more frustrating than fun. The Switch 2 avoids this pitfall entirely by focusing on what gamers actually want: a solid, reliable console with exciting new games, an improved user experience, and more power. Nintendo has a long history of experimenting with quirky hardware features. While this has occasionally paid off, such as with the Wii's motion controls, it hasn't always been a recipe for success. The Wii U, for example, introduced the idea of a dual-screen gaming experience with its gamepad, but the implementation was clunky and confusing for many players. The Wii U's poor sales and lukewarm reception showed that innovation for its own sake isn't enough. Sometimes devices like the Wii U are remembered more for their failure than their ambition. The problem with hardware gimmicks is that they often create more issues than they solve. Developers are forced to design games around the unique hardware, which can limit creativity and alienate third-party studios. Furthermore, when the gimmick inevitably falls out of favor, the games that relied on it may become unplayable. Think about the Kinect for Xbox or PlayStation's Move controllers. While these peripherals had their moments in the spotlight, they ultimately faded into obscurity, leaving behind a library of games that are now difficult to revisit. By contrast, the Switch 2 takes a more measured approach. It doesn't attempt to revolutionize gaming with a flashy new gimmick. Instead, it refines the formula that made the original Switch such a runaway success. This focus on refinement ensures that the console is practical, accessible, and built to last, not just for this generation, but for years to come. One of the most noticeable improvements in the Switch 2 is its design. The console features a larger, higher quality display, providing a more immersive experience for handheld players. The bezels around the screen have been changed, giving it a more modern and polished look. This is a welcome change, as the original Switch's design, while functional, was starting to feel a bit dated compared to newer handheld gaming devices like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. The Joy-Cons have also been redesigned, hopefully addressing one of the biggest complaints about the original Switch: drift. Drift is where the joystick registers movement even when it's not being touched, was a major issue for many players, leading to widespread frustration. Nintendo has likely taken this feedback to heart, introducing larger, more durable Joy-Cons for the Switch 2, but time will tell. The new controllers attach magnetically, replacing the sliding mechanism of the original model. Not only does this likely improve durability, but it also makes the Joy-Cons feel more premium and secure when attached to the console. Beyond durability, the new Joy-Cons should be more comfortable to use, particularly for players with larger hands. Their slightly larger size provides a better grip, making long gaming sessions more enjoyable. And for those who prefer tabletop mode, the Switch 2 now features a second USB-C port, making it much easier to charge the console while playing. One of the simplest but most impactful changes is the redesigned kickstand. On the original Switch, the kickstand was notoriously flimsy and often felt like an afterthought. It was prone to breaking or tipping over with even the slightest nudge. The Switch 2 addresses this issue with a sturdier, more adjustable kickstand that provides much better support. Whether you're playing on a coffee table, a desk, or even an airplane tray, the new kickstand ensures a stable and enjoyable experience. Backward compatibility has become a hot topic in the gaming industry, and Nintendo has made it a priority with the Switch 2. Players can bring most of their library of Switch games, both physical and digital, forward to the new console. This is a significant improvement over past Nintendo consoles, which often lacked backward compatibility. For example, the GameCube wasn't compatible with Nintendo 64 games, and the Wii U only supported Wii titles. This decision is a huge win for players, as it ensures that they won't have to start their library from scratch. It also provides peace of mind, knowing that the games they invest in now will continue to be playable in the future. While some older titles may face compatibility issues, Nintendo should provide updates and patches to address these cases. This commitment to backward compatibility highlights Nintendo's dedication to its fanbase and its willingness to listen to player feedback. One of the most exciting aspects of the Switch 2 is its potential game library. While details are still scarce, Nintendo has already teased a new Mario Kart game, which is sure to be a major hit. Mario Kart has long been one of Nintendo's flagship franchises, consistently delivering family-friendly fun and competitive gameplay. With the Switch 2's improved hardware, the possibilities for the next Mario Kart are endless. We could see larger tracks, better graphics, and new gameplay mechanics that push the series forward, as well as potentially up to 24 players in a race. But it's not just Mario Kart that has fans excited. The Switch 2 opens the door for new entries in beloved franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario, and Pokémon. Imagine a new 3D Mario game that takes full advantage of the Switch 2's capabilities, or a Zelda title that builds upon the open-world design of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. The potential is truly limitless. Despite all these improvements, a small but vocal group of critics has accused Nintendo of playing it too safe with the Switch 2. They argue that the console doesn't do enough to differentiate itself from the original Switch. However, this criticism misses the point entirely. The Switch 2 doesn't need to reinvent the wheel, it just needs to be a better version of what came before. The original Switch was revolutionary, introducing a hybrid design that allowed players to seamlessly switch between handheld and docked modes. It didn't need gimmicks to succeed. Its core concept was strong enough to stand on its own. The Switch 2 builds on this foundation, refining the design and adding meaningful upgrades that address player feedback. Nintendo's decision to focus on refinement with the Switch 2 reflects lessons learned from its own history. While the company has always been known for its innovation, it has also experienced its fair share of missteps. The Wii U, for example, struggled to find its audience due to confusing marketing and a lack of third-party support. Similarly, the Nintendo 3DS, while eventually successful, faced a rocky launch due to its gimmicky 3D feature, which many players found unnecessary. By contrast, the Switch 2 takes a more grounded approach. It doesn't rely on flashy features or risky ideas. Instead, it focuses on delivering a solid, reliable console that players can count on. This strategy aligns with the broader trend in the gaming industry, where companies like Sony and Microsoft have also embraced iterative improvements with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. One of the most significant benefits of the Switch 2's iterative design is its potential to future-proof Nintendo's gaming ecosystem. By avoiding overly specific hardware gimmicks, the Switch 2 ensures that its games will remain accessible and playable for years to come. This is particularly important in an era where gaming preservation has become a growing concern. Nintendo's commitment to backward compatibility also strengthens its long-term vision. By allowing players to bring their libraries forward, the company is creating a seamless transition between console generations. This not only enhances the value of the Switch 2, but also reinforces Nintendo's reputation as a company that prioritizes its fans. At its core, the Nintendo Switch 2 is a celebration of what makes gaming great. It doesn't need to reinvent the wheel or rely on gimmicks to stand out. It simply builds upon the foundation laid by the original Switch and makes it even better. From its improved design and enhanced Joy-Cons to its commitment to backward compatibility and exciting game library, the Switch 2 is everything fans could have hoped for and more. While some critics may continue to nitpick, the reality is that the Switch 2 represents the best of what Nintendo has to offer: innovation, accessibility, and a focus on fun. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer to the world of Nintendo, the Switch 2 promises to deliver countless hours of enjoyment for players of all ages. Don't forget to subscribe, and let me know what you think down in the comments below.